Hi everyone, I'm Mumu from Susan's family. Today I'll teach you how to make the sunflower pen from a Flowerpot pen holder. This decoration has several parts: the flower pot, the floral foam, the pen cover, the flowers and decorations. The flower pot is crocheted in rounds on an acrylic sheet. You'll need to switch colors during the process. Add a leather label after completing. Several crochet stitches will be applicated. All are marked on the chart, so I won't list them one by one here. Please watch my demonstration for the specific crochet method. Start with the first round. It's crocheted into the hole of the acrylic sheet. There is a protective film on both sides of the acrylic sheet. Remove the protective film before crocheting. You can use a thin needle at home to help. Just peel off the protective film on the other side in the same way. Here, to make it easier for watching, I won't peel it off for this sample swatch. Face any side of the acrylic sheet toward yourself. Take out the corresponding yarn. The swatch uses random colors for specific yarn, color scheme and hook size. Please refer to the detail page of our product and the paper instructions. Place the yarn on the acrylic sheet. Leave a little yarn tail behind any hole. Leave a tail of yarn. Join the yarn. Pull the loop to the same height as the edge of the acrylic sheet. Level with the edge. Start with one chain stitch as the turning chain for single crochet. It doesn't count as one stitch. Then work 3 single crochets into each hole. Mind that you pull the loops long, and align them with the edges. Weave the tails in at the same time. Finish with one slip stitch into the first single crochet stitch you made. The joining slip stitch at the end doesn't count as one stitch. Need to tighten it up? That completes round 1. Any remaining yarn tails can be trimmed off. Continue to crochet round 2. Start with one chain stitch as the beginning chain. When crocheting in rounds, starting with a single crochet always requires making one chain stitch as the starting chain. I won't repeat this reminder later. Start from the slip stitch insertion position of the previous round. Pick up stitches one by one and work single crochets. Finish this part. End with a slip stitch. Round 2 is complete. Move on to crochet round 3. Start with one single crochet. For the next stitch, pick up the back loop and crochet. Take a look. The stitch has 2 strands of yarn. The strand closer to you is the front loop, and the other one is the back loop. Insert the hook into the back loop to make a single crochet. Then normally pick up stitches and work 2 single crochets. For the next stitch, crochet a single crochet in the back loop. After that, follow the pattern of picking up stitches and working 2 single crochets, and picking up the back loop to make 1 single crochet. Finish this round. End with a slip stitch. The fabric naturally curls here. Turn the right side to the outside. That's the side with the raised texture showing round after round. The front side has these little line segments sticking out. The third round is complete, rounds 4 through 7. Continue using the same crochet method as round 2. Pick up stitches, and work 1 single crochet into each stitch. Don't forget the beginning chain and slip stitch. Mind your tension as you crochet. Keep the fabric from flaring out or pulling in. Work at a right angle to the acrylic board. Count the rounds by following the raised textures on the right side. Each raised texture represents 1 round. Don't miss the round on the acrylic board. Refer to the pattern chart to complete it. After completing round 7, slightly enlarge the loop. Pause your crocheting. Now I'll demonstrate round 8. Take the corresponding yarn. Locate the second stitch of round 2, which is on the left side of the slip stitch mark. On the remaining front loop half stitch, join the yarn. Make 3 beginning chains as a turning chain. Then work 1 double crochet into the remaining half stitch on the left. Chain 2. Then make 1 double crochet decrease, or DC2 tog for short. First, create 2 incomplete double crochets. Yarn over, insert into the same insertion position as before. Draw the yarn through. Yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. First stitch completed. Continue with the second stitch. Yarn over, insert into the remaining half stitch on the left side. Draw the yarn through. Yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. Second stitch completed. Yarn over and draw through all loops in once. That completes the double crochet decrease. Continue with 2 chain stitches. 1 double crochet decrease. First, at the previous insertion position, and the remaining half stitch on the left side, work an incomplete double crochet in each of them. Yarn over and draw through all loops in once. That completes the double crochet decrease. For this round, correspondingly make double crochet decreases like this. 2 chain stitches as a transition between. The adjacent double crochet decreases are worked in the same insertion position. Remember to keep the fabric as close to the back as possible after crocheting. Don't make it too tight or too loose. Continue to finish this round. For the last double crochet decrease, insert into the joining spot for the second stitch. Finally, crochet 2 chain stitches. Make a slip stitch into the starting double crochet stitch. Secure with 1 chain stitch. Pull up the loop, leave a 5 cm yarn tail, and cut it off. That's how round 8 is done. Now move on to round 9. Join the yarn in the chain space on the right side of the previous round's yarn tail. Start with 1 special bobble stitch made of 4 double crochets. Make 3 beginning chains to start. Work 3 incomplete double crochets in the same position. Pull through all the loops including the yarn tail. Yarn over and draw through all loops in once. 1 special DC4 bobble stitch is completed. Then make 2 chain stitches. Work 1 DC4 bobble stitch in the left chain space. Start with 4 incomplete double crochets. Yarn over and draw through all loops in once. The DC4 bobble stitch is completed. We'll call it bobble stitch for short from now on. Continue with 2 chain stitches. This round is worked by making bobble stitches into the chain spaces of the previous round, with 2 chain stitches as a transition in between. Follow this method to complete the entire round. Finally, join with a slip stitch to the starting stitch, and fasten off the yarn. The stitch is located at the top right corner of the bobble stitch. After completion, round 9 will be roughly level with round 7. That's how round 9 is done. Now work on round 10. Find the loop from round 7. Continue crocheting. This round involves crocheting round 9 and round 7 together as one. First, make a beginning chain. Then tidy up the stitches on round 9. Insert into the chain space on the right side of the yarn tail, and the first stitch of round 7 behind it. Work 1 single crochet. Then insert into the first bobble stitch, and the corresponding second stitch behind it. Work 1 single crochet. Next, insert into the left chain space, simultaneously inserting into the 2 stitches on the left side of round 7. Make 2 single crochets correspondingly. Repeat this process. Continue crocheting single crochets. Into the bobble stitch stitches. At the upper right corner here. Don't insert into the wrong position. After completing the fourth bobble stitch position, you'll need to make a single crochet increase on the left side, which means inserting into the same stitch and making 2 single crochets. The single crochet increase is completed. Continue with 1 single crochet. Finish this chain space position. Following this method, crochet the entire round by referring to the chart. Pay attention not to miss any increase points. Finally, at the starting chain space, make 1 single crochet increase. You can check the stitch count now. Finish with a slip stitch. Round 10 is completed. For rounds 11 to 21, continue crocheting in rounds counterclockwise. Pay attention to increasing stitches at the corresponding rounds. Simply pick up the corresponding stitches from the previous round and crochet accordingly. Everyone, refer to the chart to complete this part. Now crochet round 22. Starting from this round, you'll need to crochet on the wrong side. First, make a turning chain. Turn the work counterclockwise. Begin from the last stitch of the previous round. Work 1 single crochet into each stitch in sequence. Mindful that when working on the wrong side, the stitches are positioned at the upper left. The last single crochet is worked into the slip stitch position from the previous round. Finish with a slip stitch. Round 22 is now completed. Next is round 23. Continue crocheting on the wrong side. Finish with a slip stitch. Round 23 is now completed. Now crochet round 24. For this round, work single crochets into the back loops only. Finish with a slip stitch. Round 24 is now completed. Next is round 25. Crochet into the back loops only, following the same method as round 24. Pick up stitches evenly into each stitch for the remaining rounds. Please refer to the chart and complete accordingly. For the last round slip stitch, do not pull tight. Pull a large loop. Leave a 10 cm yarn tail and fasten off. Insert the hook into the stitch on the left side of the slip stitch position. Then go back through the braid where the yarn tail is located. Adjust it a bit. This way, the seam at the end won't show any slip stitch marks. Weave in the yarn tail along the back side of the single crochet texture. Then flip the last few rounds to the right side. These 2 rounds of small horizontal lines should be on top. That's all for the explanation on crocheting the flower pot. Next, sew on the leather label to the outside of the flower pot. Cut a piece of yarn used for crocheting the flower pot. Take 2 strands and thread them through the yarn needle. Tie a knot at the end of the thread. Take the leather label, position it on the side opposite the slip stitch seam of the flower pot. Sew the leather label between rounds 13 to 16. Pay attention to the direction of the text. Thread through the reserved loops. After finishing one side, carry the yarn across to the other side. Finally, tie a knot and weave in the ends. This completes the leather label. The flower pot is now finished. Next, let's learn how to make the flower mud. Start with a magic ring method. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. Once completed, stuff it and sew it inside the flower pot. Before crocheting, let's take a look at the chart. In the chart, our ND plus number indicates the round number. The column labeled increases and decreases explanation, shows the stitch patterns, and increase, decrease details, needed for that round. The total stitches column shows the total number of stitches, after completing all the stitches in that round. Now watch me demonstrate the specific crocheting method. The chart says, magic ring, for casting on, which means the starting method is the magic ring technique. Start with an adjustable magic ring. The casting on is done. Now crochet the first round. R1 is 6x, the number before the stitch pattern indicates how many stitches to work. Here it means to crochet 6 single crochets into the magic ring loop. First, make 1 chain stitch as the turning chain for the single crochet. This beginning chain isn't marked in the chart. In actual crocheting in rounds, you always start with a turning chain. The turning chain for single crochet doesn't count as 1 stitch. Next, into the magic ring loop, crochet 6 single crochets. After completing, check the stitch count. The total number of stitches for each round is clearly marked in the chart. We won't repeat this reminder later. Now close the magic ring loop. Simply pull the yarn tail tight. Tighten the center of the fabric piece. The loop is now closed. Next, into the first single crochet stitch. Work 1 slip stitch. If you're having trouble identifying it, you can count the stitches from back to front. It's this braid. The joining slip stitch does not count as a stitch. Need to pull tight. The slip stitch is not indicated in the form. In actual crocheting in rounds, each round ends with a slip stitch, and pull tight. This completes the first round. Next, crochet the second round. R2 is 6V. The number in front of V tells you how many single crochet increases to work continuously. Here it means to work 6 single crochet increases in a row. First, make 1 chain stitch to start. Let me emphasize again, when crocheting in rounds, you always begin with a starting stitch. I won't repeat this explanation later. Pick up the stitch and work a single crochet increase accordingly. The starting yarn tail can be tightened together. Finish off with a slip stitch. Pay attention. After completing each round, you must join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. Trim off any remaining yarn tails. The second round is now complete. Continue crocheting the third round. Round 3 is 3 single crochets, 1 single crochet increase, repeated 3 times. The parentheses here indicate a group. The times number indicates the number of times to repeat the pattern. First, work 3 single crochets. Then, work 1 single crochet increase. Let me demonstrate again. First, work 3 single crochets. Then, work 1 single crochet increase. This is the second time. Continue and do it one more time. Finish with a slip stitch. Round 3 is now complete. You can take a look. The right side texture is clear. The wrong side texture is blurry. Keep the right side facing you as you continue crocheting. Now move on to round 4. Work single crochets into each stitch evenly. Once completed, the fabric will naturally curl. Place the wrong side on the outside. Rounds 5 to 18. Are all crocheted with the wrong side on the outside? Please refer to the chart and complete them. Round 19 requires working into the back loops only. Once completed, the fabric will form this shape. Continue following the chart afterward. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. Keep the right side facing you at all times. Leave a yarn tail of about 1.2 meters long for sewing after completion. That concludes the explanation for crocheting the flower mud. Finally, proceed with stuffing and sewing. Take the waiting beads and place them on both sides inside the flower pot. Pay attention not to open the packaging bag, to prevent the beads from spilling through the holes in the acrylic board. Then add fiber fill into the gaps until fully filled. During stuffing, you can insert a pen into the middle of the flower mud to ensure the groove stays vertical. The stuffing should be firm and even. Make sure the flower pot doesn't become deformed. This is the final round of the flower mud. Sew it to the stitch position of the 22nd round on the flower pot, which is the indentation right below the horizontal line of the inner circle. Stuff until the top of the flower mud slightly bulges. Now proceed with sewing. Match the slip stitch marks. Pick up the last round of stitches on the flower mud. Sew them matching the stitches at the indentation. Here, you can turn the edge of the flower pot over. Creating this effect on the outside. When there's just a little distance left, if there are any areas where the stuffing isn't fitting well, adjust and add more as needed. Try to make the top bulge evenly. Once all sewing is done, weave in the ends. Tidy up the flower pot. That's how the flower mud is completed. Next, we'll learn how to make the pen cover. Start with a magic ring. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. The method is similar to how we started the flower mud. Just after completing the third round, flip the textured right side to the outside. Then crochet evenly without increasing or decreasing. You can test with a pen as you crochet. The pen should fit perfectly into the fabric. Don't make it too tight or too loose. If it doesn't fit well, adjust based on the actual situation. Adjust your tension and recrochet. The number of rounds provided in the chart is for reference only. You can check the fit as you crochet. Just crochet until you reach the edge of the pen cap. Once done, cut the yarn and finish off. The finishing method is the same as the last one used for the flower pot. Tuck in the yarn tail inside the fabric. Complete it and you're all set. Look, this is the sample after completing the pen cover. Next, we'll secure the pen cover to the pen. I'll demonstrate using the sample here. The color scheme of the pen cover is not for reference. Put the pen cover on. Slightly slide it down a little distance. Apply glue here. Then put the pen cover back on. Wipe off any excess glue. Make sure to adjust it well, connecting it with the pen cap. Let the glue dry completely. Then attach the pen cap to the center groove of the floral foam. Apply a bit of glue to the tip of the pen cap. Carefully insert it into the bottom. You can now place the pen in. Make sure to insert it all the way to the bottom. Once the glue has dried, test by inserting and removing it. Confirm that it is securely fixed. That's all for the explanation of the pen cover. Next, let's move on to the flowers. It is divided into the flower core, petals and the calyx. First, crochet each part and then assemble them together. Start by crocheting the flower core. Begin with a magic ring method. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. You'll need to switch colors during the process. Please watch my demonstration for the detailed crochet technique. Starting chain and the first 6 rounds. The crochet method is similar to the beginning of the flower base. For the last 2 rounds, pick the back loop only to crochet. Cut the yarn after completing. Everyone please refer to the chart to finish it. Next, I'll demonstrate round 7. Using a swatch. Locate the front loop left from round 4. Join the yarn on any horizontal bar. Crochet 3 chain stitches. Slip stitch on the next horizontal bar. Gather and tighten all the yarn tails together. The first group is done. Continue with 3 chain stitches. Slip stitch on the next horizontal bar. Repeat this group of stitches for the rest. Finish crocheting this round. Slip stitch at the starting joining position for the last group. Round 7 is now completed. Continue with round 8. Start with 3 chain stitches. Slip stitch into the back loop left from round 5. Continue with 3 chain stitches after that. Slip stitch into the half stitch on the left side. Follow this group's crochet method to finish the round. After completing the last group, leave a 10 cm yarn tail, and cut the yarn. Sew at the starting position. To make the join look neat. Weave in the ends. This completes the flower core. Next, we'll learn how to make the petals. There are 2 rounds in total, both crocheted onto the flower core. During the crocheting process, you'll need to add a thin wire. The new stitch technique used here is the half double crochet. Watch my demonstration for the specific crochet method. First, work the first round of petals. Find the first stitch of the 6th round on the flower core. That's the stitch to the left of the yarn tail. Insert your hook into this slip stitch position. Attach the yarn on the front loop of this stitch. Then chain 8 stitches. Next, start working from the second to last stitch. Pick up the back bump of the chain stitch, which is this single thread here. Correspondingly make 7 slip stitches. The oval-shaped slip stitch doesn't need to be tightened. After completing it, rotate the fabric. At the joining position, slip stitch into the front loop on the left side. Pay attention, this front loop is from the right side view. Pull tight. Then chain 1 stitch. Turn to the right side. Pick up the V-shaped loop of the previous slip stitch, which is these 2 strands forming a V shape. Correspondingly make 1/2 double crochet. At this point, you can take out the wire. Work and weave it into stitches at the same time. Continue picking up the V-shaped loops of the slip stitches, and work 1/2 double crochet. Bend the excess part of the wire. Weave them in together. Continue correspondingly making 2 double crochets. One half double crochet. 1 single crochet. 1 slip stitch. Pick up 1 strand at the pointed shape position and slip stitch once. Just pick a general position. Reach the other side. Pick up the other 2 strands of the remaining chain. Correspondingly make 1 slip stitch. The texture here is also this kind of braid-like texture. One single crochet. 1/2 double crochet. 2 double crochets. 2 half double crochets. Pay attention to tighten the yarn tail for the last stitch. Once done, slip stitch on the front loop of the left side underneath. The yarn tails can be tightened together. Pull tight. This completes the first petal. One petal takes up 3 stitches. You can tidy up each petal after completing it. Make the fabric piece flat. Continue to crochet the second petal. Pick up the front loops and correspondingly make 2 slip stitches to transition to the corresponding position. Keep the wire along. Pay attention not to tighten. Continue with 8 chain stitches. The wire doesn't need to be wrapped here. Start from the second stitch from the end. Insert the hook into the inner loop, and make a slip stitch accordingly. Turn the work over once done. On the slip stitch of the first transition, pick up the braid and slip stitch. There are a total of 3 braids here. The leftmost braid is the first tightened slip stitch. Here, pick up the middle slip stitch braid to crochet. Tighten. Then make 1 beginning chain to start. Turn to the right side. Pick up the braid of the slip stitch, and crochet the corresponding stitch technique. Here, continue to wrap the wire. Don't miss the slip stitch at the tip. Pay attention, the wire must be smoothed out neatly. On the other side, pick up the remaining 2 strands of the chain and crochet. After completing, slip stitch to the front loop on the left side underneath. Pull tight. The second petal is done. For the petals in this round going forward, crochet following the same method as the second petal. Remember to start with 2 slip stitches as a transition. Everyone continue crocheting this round by referring to the chart. Don't forget to wrap the wire. After completing the last petal, the petals of the first round are done. Continue crocheting the second round petals. This round is worked into the back loop of the 6th round of the flower core. First crochet 1 chain stitch as a transition. Find the back side. The corresponding back loop on the left side. Slip stitch. meaning the stitch on the right side of the joining position from round 1, the corresponding back loop. Then crochet the petals. Slip stitch into the remaining back loops on the left side. Continue wrapping the wire when crocheting the outer round. Next, slip stitch into the adjacent back loop on the left side. Take a look after completing. This round of petals is staggered from the previous round. Continue crocheting petals normally in the back. The method is the same as round 1. Pay attention that all slip stitches are done in the back loops. After completing the last petal, leave a 5 cm tail and break the yarn. Reserve 5 cm of wire and cut it off. Hide it inside the fabric. Also hide the yarn tails properly. This completes the petals. Next, we'll learn how to make the calyx. Start with an adjustable magic ring. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. Watch me demonstrate the specific crocheting method, starting chain, and the first 5 rounds. Follow the chart accordingly. The swatch has been prepared in advance. Work 5 chains. Start from the second to last chain. Pick up the half loop above and work 1 slip stitch. Don't pull it too tight. 1 single crochet. 1 half double crochet. And 1 double crochet. Skip 2 stitches underneath. Start counting from the slip stitch insertion point here. Slip stitch. The first group is completed. For the rest, follow this group's crochet method to finish the round. After completing the last group, leave a 50 cm yarn tail and cut the yarn. This completes the calyx. Finally, assemble the flowers. First thread the yarn of the calyx through a yarn needle. With the wrong sides of the flower core and calyx facing each other, pick up the stitches from the 5th round of the calyx. Whip stitch to the back loops only of the 6th round on the flower core. Place the pen in the middle here. You can add a bit of fiberfill on both sides. The junction between the 2 layers of petals can align with the pen holder. Start sewing from beside the pen holder. Leave the 2 pointed areas of the calyx that match the pen holder unstitched. Roughly sew 1 stitch to another here. The exact sewing method is similar to how you attach the flower core. Weave in the ends after sewing is done. Insert the pen holder to the top here. The unstitched calyx. Attach to the pen holder using glue. Do not glue the pointed tip. The last round of the calyx and the backside of the petals. You can also secure the bottom end. The pointed tips should remain unglued as well. Cover the visible stitches here. With that, the flower is fully assembled. Finally, create the decorations, including large and small pom-poms, daisy flowers, acrylic flowers, butterflies and memo clips. Watch me demonstrate the specific making method. Start by making the large and small pom-poms. 1 large pom-pom, 4 small pom-poms. Refer to the chart for the exact color scheme. You can also adjust according to your preference. Here, I'll demonstrate how to make the pom-pom. First, take out the loop of the yarn ball. Flatten it and fold it into 3 equal parts horizontally. Take a piece of thread, in the same color as the pom-pom. Fold it in half and place it inside. Then wrap 1 strand of yarn around the loop. The exact number of wraps can be found in the chart. Once done, cut the yarn. And tie a knot with the inner thread. Remove it. Pull the yarn tight. Cut through the loops. Tidy it up. Trim into a ball shape according to the chart's dimensions. The exact diameter of the pom-pom, you can also adjust based on your preference, or fit well with your actual project. Once roughly trimmed, use a sewing needle to loosen the threads, make it fluffier. Finally, trim it to perfection. Trim the knotted yarn tails short. Similarly, loosen them as well. And that's it, 1 pom-pom is done. The rest of the pom-poms can be made using the same method. Finally, arrange the pom-poms on top of the floral foam according to the actual layout. Wrap around the pen barrel once. The larger pom-pom can be placed on the left side of the leather label. The exact arrangement can also be adjusted based on your preference. Attach the side with the knot to the corresponding position. That's all for the large and small pom-poms. Finally, attach the daisy flowers, acrylic flowers, and butterfly onto the pom-poms. You can refer to the finished product for exact placement. Try to attach them on the side with the leather label. Everyone can also decide based on their preference. Pay attention to the right and wrong side of the daisy flowers. The butterfly wings can be folded slightly to make it more three-dimensional. Finally, insert the memo clip into the floral foam. If the position is decided, you can apply glue on the tip when inserting, and it will be secured once the glue dries. Everyone can choose whether to attach it based on their preference. That's all for the decoration. If you have any questions during the process, don't hesitate to reach us via our website. Susan's Family, supporting your handwork experience, sharing the joy of life. Thank you all for watching. See you in the next episode.